Good morning to all. I am going to present it about my research topic is cost-effective transport arrangement and its distribution of water supply in Sri Lanka. Transportation model. It concerned with the possible optimal way to which a product produced at different origin centers can be transported to a number of different destinations. This diagram shows this process very clearly. In the studies, we consider the cases, uh, the scenario of National Water Supply and Drainage Board. This board is planning to expand the water distribution systems to different locations by minimizing the purchasing cost and time. To find this optimal solution, we are using the Excel solver method. Excel solver method is helpful to find the optimal solution for the transportation model, because if we apply the manual process, it will get long times. This is transportation model is a special kind of LP model, but but the difference is these types LP model having the more number of decision variable. That's why the manual process not advisable to this solving the transportation model. So we are using this process Excel solver very friendly to all people handling this type problems. That's why we are using this Excel solver method. In our study, we identify the research problem is used a transportation model and illustrate how this model is applied to find the minimum cost of transporting water supplies in different places. We reviewed some literatures for find out the suitable methods. Most of the literatures using this transportation model for finding the minimum cost in various situations of shifting the products. Every authors using the different methods. Some authors use different computing techniques. Some authors using the lingosophia or lindosophia, and some. We found that recently one author used the Excel solver method for the solving the transportation model. So we catch the idea. We used that technique to find out the solution for the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. Objective of our studies, there are two objectives. One is find out the optimal solution that minimize the transportation cost. Second one is identify the economic and efficient routes for distributing the pipes for water supply from different stores to the particular sites in Sri Lanka. The framework of the study is, first we create the input table with the help of Excel table. To create this input table, we need three types information. First type is at the source centers, we have to get the information available load here based on the FAB lines. We get the information available load of water supplies from the each sites in the water supply center. And another information is we have to get the information what are the requirements at the each requirements sites. Some places required the water supply from the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. So we have to get the number of requirements, quantity of load requirements. And another information is transportation cost, assigning the assigning the values between the National Water Supply sites and the destinations. These calculated based on the Google Map, based on the distance. And then second step is perform the Excel solver method. To find the optimal solution, we perform the analysis in the Excel solver. I will explain this process in the following slide. Next is we performed also sensitive analysis, because the not enough the Excel solver output to implement the solutions. That's why we perform this analysis. I will explain why we perform this analysis in the following slide. Finally, we interpret the solution based on the Excel output and the sensitive analysis. Here, this chart show that, this table show that the requirement of drug load in each sites in the national, each site of the Sri Lanka, which places required the water supply from the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. Here we calculate these requirements based on the length of the pipe between the places to national water supply centers. And also similarly, we calculated availability of the pipelines in the stores of the national water supply centers, and finally it value converted to drug loads, because this transportation shifted with the drug loads. That's why we converted these values. This data show that transportation cost assigning with the places, each places to each stores to the requirement places, destinations. These the stores, from the stores to the sites. Some sites are required the water supply from the board. So within the cost value we calculated. To calculate this cost value, we find out the distance from these places with the help of Google Map. Then we assume there are the transportation cost is certainty. In the Sri Lanka, all the places we are following the transportation cost in a certain way, that based on the assumption we calculated this transportation cost. This results in the gets from the solver output. To perform this analysis, firstly we paste this transportation cost table. Final column we inserted for the available supply, and the final row for the demand of requirements, the quantity requirements. Final row for the quantity requirements, final column for the availability supply. To perform this analysis, we have to include some commands to the Excel solver. First one is objectives. We put the objective cells. This objective is minimization. After that, we put minimization of transportation cost. So we have to find the efficient allocations. After getting this efficient allocation, it will show the sum of the used quantity. Similarly here, after finishing this efficient after finishing these iterations, here it will show each the satisfied requirements at the final stage. So this transportation cost will be the product sum of the transportation cost and the assigning unit to via the routes. And also we have to give the command this analysis, which type of analysis. So we are putting the linear type of analysis. Similarly, likewise, we have to give some command to perform to operate this analysis. Finally, we receive this. Here, one more, this Excel output, we make the sensitivity analysis also. Based on the assumption, this model is a LP model, because if we get the optimal solutions, we can't directly implement the solutions, because here this if you see these places, first places Ratmalana to Kadavella 3.5 load, because we can't shift this half load to any places. That's why we have to reduce to increase. So we have to reduce to increase. We know the ranges. So to know the ranges, we perform the sensitive analysis. Based on this sensitive report, we reduced to this place by half load. Then finally we as approximate, we can send the 3 load to these places. And next one is 4.5 load. So we can't shift it here, also same problem, but earlier we reduced the amount. That's why here we increased it by that amount. But here also we find out the ranges, how much can we increase, how much reduce. That's why we perform this analysis. So based on this Excel solver output and the sensitive analysis, we would be able to find the actual transport cost with the possible minimum cost. Earlier this solver output gave the optimal, but here real situation we can't use the optimality, we can't use the near to optimal. So it is called the possible minimum value it gives. So this Excel solver method is very helpful to sort out this problem of national water supply and drainage board. Thank you. Thank you.